we've been talking about the critical race theory and it's not in schools. We've been hearing that all over the place. Obviously, that's a game of semantics. Now we're hearing that there's this BLM, so Black Lives Matter activism week that has a public school curriculum. So we went from we went from critical theories not in schools to the number one critical theory organization having curriculum in schools, just out in the open. Well, potentially. One US education department supports it and three reject it. The Fox News did this reporting. They said, hey, there's this push out there for this Black Lives Matter, basically Black Lives Matter activism week in public schools. And they went ahead and they asked people at the State Department level, they asked them, okay, are you for this or not? Only one State Department of Education pledged to support the controversial BLM at School Week of Action program that has been implemented in schools across the country and which calls for the disruption of the Western nuclear family dynamics. Basically, if you're not familiar with the disruption of the Western nuclear family dynamics, it's we went in the sweet spot that I would say is that we accept all families, like a family that has two mothers, two dads, or whatever. Whatever the family structure is, that we accept them as that's how they're living, and we're not going to look at them differently or anybody or hate somebody for their preferences and all that. This takes this a step further. What this is saying is not only do you accept people of all different lifestyles, if you have a traditional lifestyle of a father and mother, husband, wife, and children type home, that's a Western traditional family value dynamic that must be destroyed. So nothing's sacred anymore. That's what they're talking about. This is about the week of action. I didn't even know it was going from January 31st to the 4th. They had all kinds of stories, resources, a spark for movement and activism. And when you look at Black Lives Matter, we've talked about the organization. They would probably argue this is our momentum. Then we're using it as a real saying, like we really care about Black people. Okay, the local chapters have said outrageous things, and this is a religion, and it's unconstitutional for this curriculum to be in school, in my opinion, without question. Not even a debate about it. Fox News Digital reached out to all 50 states. That's where they're getting this data from. And Washington State's equivalent of the Department of Education was the only one to say it is supportive of school districts who want to recognize Black Lives Matter at school week in their schools. That's how far gone things are. I mean, this is not only critical race theory in schools, it's critical race theory activism in schools. And when you say the phrase Black Lives Matter, you can't ignore the organization and what they do and their number one goal. Their number one goal is to remove Trump from office, is what they're at the time, and then to prevent him from running again. So it already kicked off. It has 13 guiding principles. I'm sure those principles are all loving and understanding of people of all backgrounds, including conservatives or Trump supporters. Probably not. The program uses similar academic approaches as critical race theory. It's not similar. It is. It is critical race theory. Black Lives Matter views everything through the lens of it being racist. That's all critical race theory is. If you want to explain to someone, a normie who doesn't follow this stuff and doesn't know what it is, all you have to do is say critical race theory is the viewpoint, is the ideology that views everything that happens in life as being racist. I'm not over exaggerating. People can argue their point of view or not, but that's what critical race theory is. And it's not based on any proof or anything like that. It's a religion. It's based on this faith. So it's teaching us religion's guiding principles in school, at least potentially in some schools. It was interesting. They talked about globalism here. Talked about globalism. Do you? I don't know. I'll reach out to anybody, but that's overtly political. I don't understand what globalism has to do with anything. I think it's any religion, whether you support it or not, survives by recruiting people. I mean, it's really a business. Any religion is a business, and a business is always trying to expand. So I think they're trying to say the whole world is like that. And my thoughts. This I think China is behind all of this. The CCP is behind all of this, and they want to use it to change the whole globe into an Eastern philosophical mindset.